Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today I have a rather quick review of the Supervision rock+mica layered watercolors. And this is the Mermaid Coast selection. There's several selections available on Amazon of 10 tubes of paint with a the colors have mica and they've got a pigment, and I think they also have another dye in each color. So I think there's like 3 colors going on, although on the tubes there's only 2 listed. So this are the swatches on the back. I did not get these results when I swatched them, and I tried a couple different ways, but I will show you what I think works best and also show you the real swatches I did with these paints, as well as a project I used them in. This is not a type of paint that you would use for the entirety of a painting. It's better for like special effects, backgrounds, maybe card making, or things where you just want to put something interesting in to fill a space, but you're okay with things being a little random and unpredictable. The tubes are 8 mLs. They're about the same build as a Cotman tube. On the back, you have information. Well, this one actually does have 2 colors, like mica, PR122, PB36, but a lot of them just have 2 pigments listed, mica being one and then a colored pigment. But I do think they all contain, well, I guess I shouldn't say that because I'm not sure. But anyway, they do list those, the mica and then the pigment information. Sometimes it just says plant extract, so it's a very vague type of labeling, but at least they have that much information there, and I do appreciate that. And this is what the tubes look like. They're nestled in foam, making it a really pretty gift presentation if you're looking for something for the artist that has everything and you think they might like this quirky set of colors. And these are quirky. They're quirky. I've had these for over a month, maybe 2 months, and I've just been really stymied with what to do with them, and I also feel like I can't get very predictable results with them. So here's my swatch. I did the swatch both on white and on black, and I did it on handmade watercolor paper. And this is the Shenzhen handmade watercolor paper that's made in India, and it's cold pressed. However, it's quite textured, and a textured paper can give you a little bit more of that granulation look. And when paint is advertised as layered watercolor, it means the colors will kind of split apart and it will look like you have several layers of different pigments going on and textures going on. So you do get some texture with the mica, you do get some texture with some of the granulating pigments they use, such as PB29, and you get a little bit of shimmer there because of the mica. And it also feels like there may be a dye, or maybe it's just the coating on the mica that is giving us these almost third colors that I was mentioning earlier. So the colors on the black, what you're seeing there is just the coated mica. So it's mica that's got some sort of coating on it, rather than just being like a pearl. And they do show up uniquely on black. So if you had some artwork that had a lot of black areas in it that you want to wash over it and give it a little sparkle, this would work. The colors on white are a little more interesting, I think, because like you can see where the colors separate out into the nooks and crannies of the paper. Like this one, you can see the purple mica separating out against the blue and greenish color, and it's got a little interest there. Some of the colors, though, the mica almost takes over and you can't really see what else is going on. And that's kind of a shame because it's almost like the reflection from the mica over or kind of steals the show from the other colors. But they're interesting. I wasn't completely 100% excited about these after I started using them. I was excited to try them, but once I actually got them, I found them to be a little disappointing. I didn't see the effects that I was seeing on the back of the box or on the swatches on Amazon. They were a little bit of a disappointment, to be honest. I did use them in the background here because I was using the Supervision pastels for the foreground, and I thought I needed something with a little bit of a contrast. Their pastel colors are very matte, and I thought it would be nice to use something that has maybe a little bit of sparkle in the background that could show a deeper color depending on the way I tipped it. And I had a very wet and wet wash, and I still struggled to get much color separation. There's some color separation there, but it's almost like the glare kind of covers it up, so you gotta have to tip it so you don't see the glare to see the colors splitting apart. So that was a little bit of a disappointment, but I also wanted a darker color in the background, so I think I used too much. And I think with these paints, the key to getting a really lovely effect with them is to use a lot of water and not a lot of paint. So I did kind of a last-ditch experiment here to try to figure out how these paints would be best used, because I'm sure a lot of people purchase them. And I found that by adding a lot of water, spraying the paper, and then dabbing in the color and letting them kind of bleed around, I got a nicer effect. when I did it and used much more pigment, the sheen of the mica kind of overtook everything, and I didn't see as much of the splitting apart effect. So lots of water and just dab in the color, and I think that's probably the best way to go. I generally have better luck with the Supervision paints using them dried down from pans, but in this case, you might be better off just to put a dab or two on your palette, wet the background, and drop in the paints where you want it. It's such a specific and special effect type of paint that I don't know if you'd really want to dedicate space in your palette to it. Nevertheless, I did squirt them out into pans. They dried down fine, they re-wet fine, so there's no problem if you want to do that. It's just, it may not be something you use enough to justify space in your palette is what I'm going after. Then again, it is convenient to have a little palette with your colors in it. You can just grab them and go. That lavender is actually quite pretty because it's like a textured granulating lavender, but it's got a little shine to it. So that is kind of a fun color. And although the use is limited with these, they are fun to have. I'd say the big downside to these is the price. The set of 10 paints, and they're just 8 ml tubes, they're going for like $78.99 currently at the time of recording. And I think that's a lot for the quality of these paints. I think the regular Supervision set of 10, I think they're 15 ml tubes, are going for about that same price, and I think they're a lot more interesting. The other thing I want to caution you about some of these Supervision sets is that a lot of them have some known light fast issues. The set I just showed you the swatches for, that has some pretty, I would say, damning test results by other reviewers, so it's kind of a fun thing to fool around with, but probably not something that you want to risk a painting you want to last a long time with. So with those caveats, for me, I would pass on these, to be honest. But if you like quirky, whimsical paints and you just want to try them out, I mean, there's no harm in it. Just try using them different ways. Try using them with less water. Try using them with more water. I had better luck with more water. And a heavily textured paper, honestly, I think would give us a little bit more of that stronger result. I'm probably not going to use these a heck of a lot, but I did put them here in my Supervision palette because who knows, sometimes you get hit with a brainstorm and you find just the perfect use for these paints. But I had several people waiting on this review, and I really just couldn't find many great ways to use this paint, and maybe the other sets of layering colors are different. There's a lot of purpley blues and golds in here, and maybe there are other sets that have more distinct colors that are a little more useful, so I can't say for that. And I do have to say that these were sent to me from the American distributor of Supervision paints. I did not pay for these, so I think I'd be really disappointed if I shelled out nearly 80 bucks and got this quality of paint, to be absolutely honest. I'll link to them down below, but if you want my honest opinion on these paints, I really don't recommend them for the cost. I think you'd be better off buying a set of metallic watercolors and mixing them in with the paints you already have to get a similar effect, because they're going to be way more versatile, and then you can make it custom exactly the way you want it. Like you could wet your background, you could put a few drops of the metallics in, put a few drops of a dye-based reinker in, put a few drops of a granulating pigment in, and get a fantastic dynamite result that's exactly what you want, instead of the mixes and hoping that the colors look the way you want, or that you've got a pan that's got the 3 colors or 2 colors in it that you want. So my honest opinion, skip these. Go for a nice metallic set like the Paul Rubens metallics, or I've never used the Fine Tech, but I've only heard good things about them. Something like that. Add it with the paints you already have. I think you're going to be much more happier with the outcome. So sadly, I know a lot of people are really excited about this review and they really want to try out these paints, and I don't want to dissuade you from trying what you're interested in, but the best results I got were with lots of water, and even spraying it after I put the colors down, spraying it again to help push the pigments apart and help them float a little bit. This is on Arches paper, which is a fairly heavily sized paper, which usually gives me some good results with granulating colors. But you have to dilute them so much to get them to split apart that you lose a color payout, and for that reason, I'm just not sold on these. Maybe the other sets are a little bit better, but for these, in my opinion, I'd give them a pass. But anyway, you can let me know what you think in the comments below. If I've got this completely wrong and you've been using these for years and you want to tell me what for, you go for it, because I'm not seeing what the fuss is about with this set. So there you have it. Sorry it took me so long to get this out, and I'm sure this is a little disappointing compared to other reviews, but I just really struggled with what to use these for, and Yeah, there you have it. I think Becca Hilburn over at Natto Soup on YouTube has a review of these, so go check hers out. She does a lot with these types of paints, and she's much more educated on these paints than I am, so I would highly recommend heading over there. Head over to Kimberly Crick's channel as well. She may have a review on these, but if not, she has a lot of reviews on Supervision paints, which may give you a little bit more insight to glean on this particular type of watercolor. It's not something I use a lot, so I just want to be completely honest with you in case I'm getting it wrong and these are really fabulous and I'm just not seeing it. I want you to be able to go find some other opinions to check out. But with that, thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the review, and until next time, happy crafting.